Joloff was also a tool for me to let people know about Senegal.
Pop was an ambassador for the culture.
For me, as a young woman growing up in Brooklyn, New York, Joloff was really my first introduction to African cuisine.
We've been talking a lot about the relationship between Africa and African Americans and the strength of putting those two together, and it's beginning to happen, and it's because of restaurants like Joloff and because Pop thought enough to come and be stationed here and be a fixture in the community.
I was just born in West Africa. Some others happened to be born in the island. Some happened to be born here in America. That we're still the same people.
It's important for us, you know, raising a family, that our kids get to experience food from the motherland, from Senegal, and in this environment.
When I was pregnant with my daughter, I had to have chebbijan once a week, or it would get real.
Throughout the years, I know that Pop is going to ask, how's my grandson, how's my daughter?
And watching our children grow through here.
It wasn't a restaurant, that was a family gathering place. Right? So we would ask about, it's funny because we would ask about each other's children. When you pass by there, I know that my kids knew their eyes were on them. So they might act up on Washington and Fulton. But I felt like when you got there, you straightened up because there were so many eyes on you, and that's what the village was always about.
I knew that I was connected to community through this place, through this table.
Well, all the years that we were doing things, the early years of Corridor Gallery, he would bring free food. Wow. And it wasn't for publicity. It was because he was a member of the community.
That's right.
And this is what he had to contribute.
The theorists would say that it's not sustainable to have a business that pours itself into the community in that way. Like, you can't survive.
It's that comfort zone that you get into where you start to recognize all of the people that are working in partnership together. So you know that you can go to Joloff for food. You know that you can go to Mokata for space. You know that you can go to Brenda Brunson Bay to do a clothing fashion show, or you could go to Moshood to open up his doors or contribute t-shirts for all the children in the community for free for the film festival. Like, I think that is when we talk about the changing dynamics of the community, it's that interweaving and that thread of businesses and partnerships that when gentrification happens, you lose that.
Other than gentrification economically, but culturally, the neighborhoods are being dominated. The culture that was here is being taken over by another culture. And it's not just houses, and it's not just this, but it's the culture of the neighborhood that is being gone.
So the mayor has rolled out a big initiative for tenant protections for residential tenants, but nobody's doing that for commercial tenants. So we'd like to mirror some of that legislation and make sure that our small businesses can be protected and stay.
We should be talking about expanding Joloff.
Slow down this gentrification train. One way is to build capacity within your small businesses by patronizing them and undergirding them. And the second way is to pour into your cultural institutions. Right? So it's funny, we're at the table with small business and cultural institutions.
I'm not really kind of introduce the concept of restaurants that do more than just serve food. That there's poetry readings there, there's art there, there's this like full encompassing experience that's happening there.
I came in and Pops was here as he is, and he had this beautiful smile, and then it was just a place where a lot of the poets from the Brooklyn scene came here to eat. It was just a gathering place.
And we curate a show of different neighborhood artists or emerging artists, so it was a place to go to. People would just come there to look at the artwork, and then they would stay for dinner.
It's just one of the warmest environments, some of the best food, and it became a community space for artists here.
And the great thing about it is the food kind of interplays with the themes, of the events, because they're based around soul and, you know, just a lot of culture.
Pop was the go-to restaurant in the neighborhood.
Instead of you going and buying a sandwich or pizza, something you don't like, I make you a meal.
20 years later, here we are, still in this space, and I'm proud of him, you know, for still being here, because it says a lot about who he is, you know, who he is to this community.
He was like an oasis, and it was a black restaurant. There was a lot of pride in that this brother had this restaurant up there, and people would patronize just for that reason, to make sure that it succeeded.
I'm just someone who loves food and like to make it, especially when I see you eating my food and I see that light coming out of your eyes.
Pop had great food, great art, great poetry, and a whole different vibe than just a plain restaurant.